Hello everybody, my name is Lewy and welcome back to XBLG. Today we will be taking a look at the Xbox release of the PC Battle Royale phenomenon, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, developed by Bluehole Studio and the PUBG Corporation. So the Battle Royale genre has definitely made its mark on the 2017 gaming scene, with games such as DayZ, H1Z1 King of the Kill, Ark, Survival of the Fittest, The Culling, Fortnite and many more battling out to come out on top in what seems to be an ironic Battle Royale of Battle Royale games. But none have taken that spotlight more than Brandon Green's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. With over 20 million copies sold, the PC giant has excited console fans around the world by bringing the 100-player free-for-all to an all-new audience. As well as an Xbox gamer, I'm a pretty active PC player. With around 300 hours logged into PUBG since its Steam release of March 2017, I knew exactly what to expect in terms of gameplay. For those that are new to the PUBG scene, the rules are pretty simple. 100 players parachute onto an island with nothing but the clothes on their backs. After landing, they need to scavenge for loot. This can comprise of anything like weapons, ammunition, armour, storage, and even boosts such as energy drinks and painkillers to give you that slight edge during gunfights. Then the objective is simple: eliminate every player you meet by any means necessary to become the last player standing. To keep things up-tempo and interesting, the playable area shrinks smaller and smaller, bringing in the remaining survivors closer together until a victor is crowned. My first experience with PUBG on the Xbox One came in September during EGX, well at least that's what I thought. The game was advertised everywhere and had a decent sized booth in the Xbox section of the Expo. After waiting in line and finally sitting down to a literal 5 minutes of gameplay, I noticed that the game wasn't running on an Xbox One at all, but rather a high-end PC with an Xbox One controller as the USB input. Intrigued to see what the performance of the Xbox One could push out for PUBG, it seemed I'd have to wait until its December release. And on the lead up to its console debut, stories swam around the internet of the potential issues the game will have on the Xbox. Of course, I was sure to dismiss them until they had been verified by a reliable source, and just a week before release we were hit with some sad news from PlayerUnknown himself that PUBG will run at only 30 frames per second, even on the One X. Now I'm not usually one to be picky when it comes to frame rate. With the slower sensitivity of an analog stick compared to a mouse, it usually goes unnoticed. But 60 frames per second was something I was sure PUBG could offer us. The thought that kept me optimistic about PUBG on Xbox was the fact that everyone had the same hardware. Unlike on PC, everyone's game would look and run the same, keeping any advantages firmly non-existent. So, my first game in the 100-man pre-game lobby was essentially a PowerPoint presentation, with visuals that could rival the PC version if it was smothered in Vaseline. A sure plus, however, during early game is the mic silence. No Darude Sandstorm deafening us headset wearers was a fine thing to experience. I used the time to once again scan over my second monitor and attempt to familiarise myself with the 6-page button layout guide. Most buttons have a dual use, meaning you tap it for one action and hold it for a completely different one, but confusion aside, I leapt from the aircraft and headed to my drop point of choice. Frame rate, draw distance, rendering and extreme rubber banding is present from the moment you hit the ground, making tactical and deliberate early melee kills near impossible. This makes it hard for someone like me who lands at the high risk, high reward spots of the map often. But after around a minute of fumbling around and picking up the same 9mm ammo box up around 5 times, the game seems to settle and rest at its 30 FPS cap nicely. Even on PC running on ultra settings, PUBG isn't exactly the best looking game. And of course, with the limit of the Xbox One's hardware, the graphics need to be dialed down a little bit. But considering the sheer size of the map and the fact that it's catering for 100 other players, it works. Buildings from a distance may look bad or sometimes even non-existent, but it looks good where it matters. Weapons look great in first person and player models are textured very well. Foliage, rocks and trees aren't going to cause an issue unless you're really looking for it. A massive majority of Xbox players have been perfectly content with the way it looks, and I must say I'm one of them. I don't want to be the reviewer who constantly rants about the frame rate, but personally I could deal with a game looking worse in exchange for those extra frames. On to gameplay, and here is where PUBG thrives. No other game plays quite like it. Even if you make it to the top 10 with no kills, you feel as if you've achieved something. Be it collecting the weapons you've come across, the cross-map trek you pulled off on foot, or just the sheer emotional rollercoaster of knowing you could be killed at any minute. There's just no other feeling. As a player of both PC and Xbox, I've come to notice the two very different playstyles. On PC, players are very aggressive, never standing still and a skill cap that just keeps rising. But on Xbox, players seem more careful, tactical, taking corners slower and making use of the prone feature much more. This doesn't make the game any less exciting, but it makes you double check the base of trees and bushes just to be sure you haven't missed someone. Also, due to its much later release than its PC version, PUBG on Xbox has a few gameplay features that the PC didn't have from launch, one of those features being vaulting. This can help you get to higher vantage points, out of buildings quickly, or just get you from A to B quicker through areas with plenty of obstacles like towns. Let's talk about gunplay. PUBG has a decent roster of weapons, ranging from fully automatic LMGs to single shot sniper rifles and everything in between, and to accompany them a good variety of attachments to improve their use. Grips, suppressors and optics will all benefit you in different situations. Long range sights to target enemies far away, or shotgun chokes to narrow that bullet spread for those tense close quarter battles. It's all down to preference, so don't be afraid to experiment with these and find a combo that best suits your playstyle. Currently, PUBG on Xbox only has third-person perspective servers, meaning your camera is placed behind your character. However, with a touch of a button you can switch to first person if you prefer, but remember, third person has its wider angle advantages. If you're having a hard time aiming down sights with PUBG but you excel at other games like Call of Duty, remember PUBG doesn't have any aim assists. It's all down to how sensitive you are with your right thumbstick. Some advice: if you're relatively close to your target, fire on them in full auto in third person, and aim down your sights if your target is far away. This technique has definitely been the trick to winning a majority of my chicken dinners. Audio then. Now this one's important. I can say with absolute confidence that 80% of my kills are purely down to what I'm hearing. Be it footsteps, gunshots or the engine of cars, audio will be your best friend. PUBG does a fantastic job of letting you know where players are, especially in buildings. So if you can play with a headset, I can guarantee your gameplay will improve. However, be ready to go deaf when an airdrop flies by or if you find yourself in the red zone. The settings only comprise of controls as well, so you can't change the volume of certain things. I quickly want to talk about the inventory system. This was a feature many people were worried about. The drag and drop system the PC had made the community scratch their heads on how it could be implemented onto a controller. It takes some time getting used to, but it honestly isn't that bad. By splitting the inventory system into columns, you can toggle between them using your bumper buttons, and then selecting the item you wish to do something with. It will take a good few hours of playing to navigate at a reasonable rate. One issue though is that you can't quickly change the optics on a weapon. For example, if I'm more confident with the SCAR and I have a 4x and a red dot, I would like to be able to change the optics depending on the situation I'm in, but it's impossible to do that at a fast pace and can often lead to some uneasy gunfights. So, finishing up, and I can honestly say the PUBG Xbox launch wasn't anywhere near as shaky as I thought it was going to be. Yes, the frame rate is half of what I expected, rubber banding, rendering issues, frequent crashes are all present, but remember, the game is still in preview and is being updated constantly with optimization, bug fixes and content, and man, all that aside, there's no other feeling than tasting that sweet chicken dinner. If you liked what you saw here today, don't forget to like and subscribe to all our socials. You'll find them all in the description below. Also, if you want to check out some more PUBG live gameplay, be sure to check out our Mixer where we live stream fairly often. Of course, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.